This is a Quiet Loud Studios production, the podcast network where reflection meets amplification.
Hello, Athlete Mindset community. This is Lisa Bonta Sumii, the host of Athlete Mindset. Before we dive into this episode, I want to invite you to support the mission and purpose of our show. For $10 a month, you can help to make sure these conversations get to as many athletes, teams, coaches, and sport mental health environments as possible. As a subscriber, you will receive exclusive content and updates on current topics in athlete mental health, and you'll be directly contributing to the betterment of mental health for all athletes. Join the cause. Subscribe at sportse.io/athlete and make a difference today. Again, that's sportse.io/athlete. With your support and amplification, we can ensure more voices are heard and more individuals and communities are positively impacted. Hey, Athlete Mindset podcast community. Super excited to have the first ever, and hopefully not the last, panel for y'all today. This is not just one guest, but I got four of you all, if I can count four, not including myself. So I'm super, super excited. We are doing this in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month 2025. This year's theme is Turn Awareness into Action, which is what we're doing. We put this together. Lucas, this is his brainchild. We had a one-on-one podcast interview, and he's like, you know what? Let's gather some of my peeps and let's have a full-on panel. So Lucas, thanks for that.
Yeah, these are all people that I know and love, so I'm actually excited.
Me too. It's like family. It's family. So we're going to have a really nice conversation. Let me just start with setting the tone a little bit for our talk today. Mental wellness plays a critical role in basketball, influencing athletes' performance, focus, and overall career longevity across all levels of play. In collegiate sports, about 30% of student athletes report feeling overwhelmed, with many hesitant to seek help due to stigma. In the NBA, nearly 40% of players experience anxiety or depression symptoms during their careers, but only a small percentage access professional support. For male and female pros playing overseas, the numbers are even more striking. An estimated 50 to 60% face mental health challenges, often due to isolation, cultural barriers, and lack of structured support system. I have found when players speak openly about their mental health, it helps break the stigma and show teammates, coaches, and fans that seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Athletes using their platforms to share personal experiences can inspire others in similar situations to speak up, seek support, and prioritize their own mental well-being. And this is why it's so important that you're all here today. I'm super grateful for that. And I know anyone who is listening will be moved by what you have to say. So now let's get to know our panelists a little bit better. I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves. Lucas, we'll start with you. I just said your name, so you don't have to say your name. People know you already. Lucas Williamson, where you've played either collegiately and or G League, your position, and one mental wellness quote or affirmation that kind of guides you or that you think about.
Okay. Yeah, like you said, my name is Lucas Williamson. I went to Loyola University Chicago for 5 years, and I've been a professional athlete for 3, and I played in the NBA G League. I'm a shooting guard, and a mental health quote / affirmation. I would just say, as athletes, we work on your body so much and we work on basketball skills, but working on your mental is just as important, if not more important than the other two. So you have mind, body, and spirit. And I believe in working on all 3.
Yes, you do. And we've spoken at length about that. And I love that you're bringing it to this space as well. So thank you for that. Maya, let's go with you. Your full name, your current team or former teams as well. We want to rep all if you choose to, your position, and one mental wellness quote or affirmation.
I'm Maya Chandler. I played 3 years at Loyola, 1 year at SMU, and then I just finished up my 5th year at Miami, Ohio in Oxford. I'm a shooting guard, kind of like combo guard. And my affirmation Probably just like, honestly, it's cliche, but it's 90% mental. So it's as important, if not more important than anything, because you can have all the skills in the world, but like if you don't have the mental stability or guts to, actually do it, then it doesn't mean anything.
I appreciate it. We have a theme here going. Love it. So thank you for that. Aher, you're up. Your full name, school, team, position, and one mental wellness quote or affirmation.
My name is Aher Uguak. Played 5 years at Loyola Chicago with my guy Lucas here, and I'm a small forward. And I'm currently playing. This is my third year overseas with the same team in Germany, the basketball Bundesliga league, and it's yeah. So my affirmation would kind of I would say let go, let God. I think as athletes and even as people, we kind of our biggest enemy is usually ourselves, and I've come to learn that. And I just think letting go and freeing yourself up is just the best thing you can do, and to move forward. It might not be positive, it could be negative, but at least you're moving forward. So I think letting go, letting God is my affirmation.
Aher, I love it. I love it. I see why you and Lucas are close. You guys are like brothers. So like you guys have like a similar approach, belief, stance. So that's I love it. Just love, love, love it. Anaya, you're up. You know the drill. Name, team, or school. You got three, I know. Position and one mental wellness quote or affirmation you'd like to share with the people.
Okay, my name is Anaya Peoples. I started my collegiate career at Notre Dame, and I played there for 3 years. And then I transferred to DePaul in Chicago for my last 2 years because of the COVID year. And then I just finished my first professional season in Portugal with the team called Barcelos. Not sure where I'll be next, but that's who I just finished with. And I am a point guard / combo guard. I try to stay away from the post positions, but somehow I get there too. And then one quote I really like is, "You are what you believe yourself to be." Because I feel like, especially in our profession, a lot of media fans or coaches try to tell you what you can and can't do. But at the end of the day, you can do whatever you put your mind to, and you are what you say you are. So.
I love it. Appreciate that a lot. I know people are going to, especially the young ones coming up, are going to want to hear that. So thank you so much for that. Let's dive into the discussion. Okay. Maya, let's start with you. What's something you struggled with mentally that people didn't see on the surface?
I think I was, like, in my younger years playing, I was very hard on myself. I didn't really share a lot. I just had very high expectations for myself. And if I didn't perform, I let it send me into like a spiral. Like I was like a roller coaster, very up and down. That's like a relatable thing for a lot of freshmen, sophomores. Yeah, so I struggled with that, and I didn't really talk to anybody. I think like as I got older, I realized that I need to like reality check myself, and that like having that reality check, like, hey, basketball is not your entire life, and it's not your life. You have such a longer life than basketball. Like that kept me, able to be more consistent, like emotionally. Yeah.
Thank you for that. You're speaking about athlete identity. You're more than your sport, that whole thing, and like having a little bit more kindness and compassion for yourself. So I really appreciate it because I know there's a lot of people out there who experience the same thing. So thank you for that. Anaya, is there talk about mental health in your locker room or with teammates?
I've definitely been on both ends of the spectrum with this. Early in my career where mental health wasn't a big discussion at all, especially for athletes, really not at all. And it affected locker rooms, it affected play on the court, affected relationship with coaches, because you could see people just keeping what they had going on inside and not sharing it. Scared that it'd be used against them from coaches, not being able to play as much, losing that trust from your teammates or getting out to the media in general. So I've been on the end where it was not talked about at all, and it put a strain on the whole team. And then later in my career, it was actually used as a recruiting pitch where it's like our coach here, he stresses mental health days. He offers them. If you have a problem, he's going to give it to you, and he's going to, no questions asked. It was resources just everywhere you looked, from the locker rooms on the doors to the bathrooms, resources about mental health and therapists, sports psychologists, to teammates, like, even if it's in a joking way, but still, checking up on them, like, hey, I know you said that earlier, but how are you actually doing? Like, are you okay? And just being able to have that open communication with each other it was seen a lot more towards the later end of my career in my locker room. And I will say that team was much closer than the other teams in the past. So it has become more of a discussion. Now I think the resources with the discussion are more prevalent. So yeah, it's growing.
Thank you for that. I love the sort of evolution and sort of how it's kind of progressed and that it's part of the culture. And so that conversation is just like any other conversation, like maybe about strength and conditioning or drilling in general. So that's awesome. Thank you for that. Aher, was there a time the pressure got to you? And if so, how did you cope?
Yeah, I would say in my early years in college at Loyola, my first year was a year after they went to the Final Four, and I was kind of had pressure to come in and kind of be a starter and be a guy that's depended on right away. And I didn't realize how big of a task that was until it actually got to the first game. I wish I kind of realized it earlier. I was still very young and naive, and yeah, the pressure definitely built up over time in the games, and I struggled early, and it definitely got to me. And I think overcoming it was just kind of slowing down and realizing at the end of the day it's just basketball. I was just putting all these other pressures on it and things that didn't even matter, worrying about because it was a kind of a new spotlight for me as well, just being in that aspect. And I just think slowing things down and just remembering that you're here to play basketball and that's it. And it's that simple. And just kind of going back to the basics and the simple things and trying to be a good teammate or doing the little things and just realize, yeah, like I said before, just find joy within the game and just playing basketball again. And that kind of helped me get over it and realize that, it'll take time to grow from it. And it did at the end of the day, and it worked out for me. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. I think you said a lot of important things, but one stands out to me that you were young. We asked a lot of these players who are young people, young humans who only have a level of life experience that is that, right? Like your brains aren't fully developed. You don't know how to like fully engage with the moment, but the moment will teach you how to do
For
that.
sure,
But
yeah, yeah.
but I think you guys are so young. And so I think that's so important to remember and be reminded of. Yeah. Lucas, do you think there's still a stigma around athletes asking for help when it comes to their mental health or wellness?
I think there's still a stigma. I think that stigma is being broken down because I mean, at the end of the day, especially when you get to the professional level, like you see that if you take care of your mental, you're able to perform better.
Mm.
And when teams and organizations realize that, that's ultimately all they want to do at the end of the day is get the most out of their athletes. And as athletes, it's our job to take care of ourselves, our body, our person. So I think there still is a little bit of a stigma, just that like, because athletes we're supposed to be like these gladiators. Like we're supposed to
Mhm.
just like show no weakness, never talk about the things that bother you, push it down, don't worry about it, focus on perform, perform, perform. And that's counterproductive. So you still got like some old heads that'll think that way. But I think like people that have like gone to therapy or like seen the benefits of it, they realize that it's important. And I know a lot of colleges now have team psychologists. I know a lot of teams in the NBA have team psychologists and they force like rookies to like actually meet with their psychologists and all of that. So I think there is a stigma, but I think it's being slowly broken down.
Thank you for that. Yes. And I agree. It's the old heads. That's funny you said that way. I've never heard but like the old heads, like coaches, ownership, staff.
Me, old people in general. I got an old dad. He doesn't believe in therapy. So like,
Right. Old dad. Yeah.
yeah.
For sure. For sure. Because it's in your generation, there's a level of normalcy about it. Like, it's like, oh, I have a therapist, just like I have an individual coach for defense or shooting coach or strength and conditioning coach. It's like part of the repertoire, which I think is just becoming more and more normal. So, again, this conversation is helping people see that. And any coach would want an edge. And why not consider this alongside everybody else? So, thank you for that. Maya, let's circle back to you. What does taking care of your mental health look like specifically for you?
So for me, like I'm like somebody who can get in my head super easily and like almost get lost in thought and just like spiral. So for me, it's like, I kind of touched on this and the first question, it's like always a reality check. Like always, why am I feeling this way? What's going on in my life? What's going on in basketball? Where am I at in my menstrual cycle? Like, what are the things that are actually happening that's making me feel this way? And then what can I do about it? If I can't do anything about it, then I have to choose. I have to choose to do something different than what I'm doing. Like, can't just lay down. Have to choose to do something I don't feel like doing. Like maybe it's working out. And usually when I make the first initial hard choice to do something I don't feel like doing, then I can build upon that and then turn my day into something else rather than just sulking.
No, that's so great. I love the checking in, the self-awareness that it builds when you do so, and the choices that you make, and very real for our female athletes where we are in our cycle. So not to use that because a lot of my female athletes like, no, I don't want to talk about that, Lisa, because then I'm going to use it as an excuse. Like, no, we're going to use it as information, right? It's not a reason not to do something, but we want to know how it impacts, just like hydration, fueling, like it all impacts, right, Maya? Like,
and it does make a huge impact. Like, I know the days in practice are coming where I want to cry, and it's not because I hate practice. It's because where I'm at that time. And I know the next day is going to come and be just fine. So it helps me get through it, like realize, okay, it's not as bad as what it feels right now.
And so important, not just the physical impact of your cycle, but the emotional impact and how that can flow out into practice, into the culture, and I bet, because science says this, sometimes your teammates, y'all are on your cycle at the same time, because that's kind of how it works. Sometimes when you like are in close quarters with other women, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I've been super open about that, like, because that will send me, I'll spiral for like a week there. Crazy. And I've been super open about it, especially this last year. Like, my coach knows. Like, when I'm on the wrong day, he knows. I'll tell him. And it's just like an open communication. It's helped me so much. Like, when I was younger, I didn't realize what was going on. And now that I know what's going on, it's like I can bounce back, get through it, no big deal. Like it's nothing. And that's helped. Honestly, the reality checks like that have helped me so much. Just not fall into my head, like, and get too deep lost in thought.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Anaya, I have another question for you, but I see you nodding on this one. Is there anything you want to add to this piece?
No, I was just gonna say that's so real and like that's so because it's so true. Like I told my parents, I told my teammates, like, don't say anything to me today, please. Like I can't deal with it today. So that's so true with women's sports, and I'm glad you made that point because I don't think it's talked about enough, but it affects you majorly.
I agree. I don't think it's talked about enough. That's why, thanks, gentlemen, for being patient with us to have this conversation, because I think it's so important. Right, Lucas?
Yeah, no, I love it because it's like, I think today is the first time I've actually thought about that. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I never thought about how like your menstrual cycle can affect your mental health and your performance on the court. Never thought about it. I don't know about if that's true for you, A, but now it's kind of just like a wow, like obviously, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's really insightful.
And it affects like all aspects, like mental and like physical, like being tired, like
Totally. Yep.
everything. It's crazy.
Yep. Aher, are you gonna say something?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously like you notice in everyday life how it affects women, but you never. I guess in sports, you don't really think about. I guess never really thought about that, and it makes total sense. And I think that's crazy. And shout out to y'all for doing that because that's because that's actually insane. So
It's so insane. And like, why wouldn't a woman in day-to-day life, like Maya and Anaya in this case are women on day-to-day life, and this is their like job right now. So why wouldn't it affect them on their job, right? It's just so like, what? And it's crazy because I'm a mom and I have a daughter who's a rising collegiate softball player, and me learning that, oh, how my cycle manifests is not how it manifests for her, and having to learn her in it. And like, it's so interesting. We could have our own episode just on this, and maybe we will. So, Anaya, let's shift a little bit. How do you handle criticism? You talked about a little bit before, whether from coaches, media, or fans.
Yeah. I think it would be lying if you said like, oh, you handle it so well, don't even notice it. I feel like that's an easy cop out because it's in your face, especially in our profession. Like I said, everywhere you look, stats are being posted, playing time, games, wins, losses. So it's out there and it's tough, but I feel like I've dealt with it so much better over these last few years once I learned that criticism is just an opinion. It's just a perspective that was shaped by them way before you met them. And that's a whole nother podcast to getting in on perspectives and opinions. But
Uh-huh.
you can take it and you can say, oh, she's a ball hog. She shoots too much. She doesn't pass. And then the next person can literally say she plays like Kobe. She's got the Mamba mentality. She's aggressive. She's a competitor. I mean, so once I learned that it's really just a perspective and everyone has their own perspective and you give yourself power back when you say, I choose not to believe that. I choose to say who I am. And that's not true. Now, when it comes with coaches and teammates, you do have to, self-assess and say, okay, what are they telling me? What are they trying to help me get better? Or are they trying to, pull me down? Sometimes media fans more so like to pull you down when it comes to criticism, whereas coaches and teammates, maybe they just want to help. So you self-assess, you take everything with a grain of salt, and you try to learn from it, and you try to be better. But if it doesn't sit right with you, then you don't have to dwell on it. You don't have to believe it. That's what I've learned these last few years. And also on the physical side of it, I like to do other things that can't be criticized, like painting. I like to do Legos. I like to read. I'd like to do a lot of self-care stuff. So things that, that aren't out and open for everyone to see, but, I can just enjoy it on my own and kind of take my mind somewhere else. So that's how I deal with it personally. But my overall thing is just remembering that everything is just a perspective of somebody.
I love it. So, so powerful and wise. I mean, again, another theme is you choose what you believe, choose what you want to take in, and it's just an opinion, it's not fact. I love that. That's so, so good. I love it. I love it. Lucas, how do you support your teammates when they are struggling or you see they might be having a tough moment?
Yeah, I think especially throughout my career, I've been in a lot of leadership positions. And especially when you have experience of A, going through your own struggle, and B, being able to relate and communicate with people, it kind of gives you to be a little bit more authentic and when you're relating and communicating to others. So one of the biggest things that I always said was I felt like, and A, you can critique me if I'm not being right, but I always felt like I knew who my teammates were as people. So how I talk and communicate to A would be different than how I talk and communicate with Braden or with any other my other teammates. So it's you kind of have to meet them where they are at and be able to communicate where where they'll actually get the message of whatever it is you're trying to tell them. Some people respond, I might have to MF some people and be like, hey, look, lock in. Or in some people I'll be like, hey, look, bro, you did this didn't work. Let's try something different. And they respond better that way. So you kind of just, and then also in the locker room, you just come at to them as people. Bro, what's good? What's going on? Me and A, literally, I had a FaceTime the other day, just catching up, just talking, just building a relationship. So it's just having that relationship with your teammates, it really helps in terms, because you guys are all going through things together at the end of the day.
Totally. Yeah, at the end of the day, exactly. I think communication, this is what's standing out for me, leadership. This could be part of a captaincy development training right now. How, right? How to be a leader and whether it's a formal captaincy or not, being able to check in with your people, see them as human, and you're all brothers in the end of the day. So I really appreciate that. Aher, how has playing overseas impacted your mental and emotional well-being?
I would say it's helped me grow a lot as an individual and a basketball player. My first year was kind of a huge culture shock and also just completely different game. And me being a rookie over here playing in a pretty top league and kind of reality check. And yeah, just realizing you're playing against grown men this is their livelihood. You're going against guys that have families and this is how they put food on the table. So just realizing these things, and it kind of helped me become a better player and realizing, okay, I have to have a much like higher capacity for what I can do and put into the game and in myself. And it matured me a lot. And I think playing overseas, I'm definitely grateful for it. And I think it's got so far now, it's gone really good for me so far. And yeah, I just think also being alone kind of helped me realize a lot for myself and what I value and what I don't. And, going from Chicago, big city, a school like that, and there's so many different types of, distractions and other things. And then came to a small city in Germany and everything slowed down a lot. And I was alone for a while. In my first year, the teammates didn't really talk to them much. So I spent a lot of time by myself and realizing things of my own. And I think it was for the better. And I'm grateful for that. And yeah, I just think being overseas has been a great journey so far. And I'm excited to see how it continues from me.
Thank you for that. Like, it's interesting that you say being alone has actually been helpful. That can turn into isolation and feel not great, but somehow you've been able to use it as a cool opportunity to grow and know yourself more.
For sure. Yeah. I just think you just kind of start to realize what matters and what doesn't to you. And obviously, there's different takes on how people, spend their time alone. And I think that's just what worked for me to this point.
Yep, different takes for sure. So, are you fluent in German?
No, I mean, our team is like they're almost all English, like half foreigners, half Germans, and the coach speaks English. I mean, the German guys speak German, but everyone speaks English around. So I haven't had the need to learn it, but obviously I've been here 3 years now, and I pick up on some words
For sure.
and
For
things sound
sure.
familiar. So yeah.
How has it been for you off the court as a human being in this town and being in Germany? How has that been?
I think it's been good so far.
Okay.
The club has been pretty supportive, and I've got to know some good teammates over the years, and I have become great friends. And I think, and also found a good balance of the basketball life and the social life. And I think at first it was definitely like a lot to take in, just being in this new, completely different world, and
Mhm.
kind of adjusted to it. I think pretty good, and yeah, I think it's been good for me for sure.
Thanks for that. I'm spending a little bit of time on this because this is a larger component of where mental health struggles can appear for men and women athletes going overseas. Like I've heard things like, I don't know where to get the food that I like, or
For
like the food
sure,
that I
and
grew up with, right? That type of
yeah,
stuff.
and I think I'm in a privileged situation. Like I think depends on like where you are and where you're playing. I think Germany is pretty advanced and westernized in that aspect, and people here speak English. And like I said before, like the club is very supportive and helping that, and even teammates. And I've been pretty lucky for sure. I've heard of experiences with people being overseas, and it's just not it's not good at all. And
Yeah.
it's something that I did fear coming over here, and it's been the
Mhm.
exact opposite. I've been able to get everything I need, and have had a good support system, even with with my injury now. So it's been great. So far, yeah,
That's great. And that's important for people to hear that it can be great,
for sure.
right? And that support system matters when you're moved away from your area of comfort, your country, what you're used to. And so I think that's really, really great. Thanks for that. I'm going to go a little bit out of order here, but Lucas, what is the most misunderstood part of being a pro player, you think?
Oh man, the most misunderstood thing about being a pro player, I would probably say that everything is like peaches and rainbows. Like, and I think athletes also kind of fall into this trap of like, you see a certain type of lifestyle, a certain type of like living when you think about like professional athletes, like even like in media and TV. But like, it's really not what you think it is. There's a lot of work that goes into this. There's a lot of grinding. There's a lot of, and people like live normal lives too. Like people go home, it's a job. Like they go to work, they come home, they're with their families,
Hmm.
and they wake up the next day and they do the same thing again. So I think like the biggest misconception is that like athletes aren't like real people and they don't live like regular lives. And for me, it was kind of just like when I first became a pro, I was just, I don't know what I was really expecting or like getting into, and I think the G is just a very unique league also. So it was just strange to see like people treat you like coworkers and not teammates. People treat you like what your contract is, and then it was just strange. So just misconception of like what like the media and like what you think like athletes go through on a day-to-day basis, like the lifestyle, popularity, all that other stuff versus like actually like the grind, how many hours in the gym you're actually doing, like how important it is to take care of your body and all that other stuff, which basically kind of is almost always the exact opposite of what people might actually think like what being an athlete is.
That's so important because I think, society glorifies and puts you on a pedestal. Like, I hear a lot, and I love your take on it. Why is he even struggling? He's a professional athlete. Why is he struggling with mental health or wellness or like mindset? Like, he's a pro. What do you say to something like that?
I think again that kind of goes to my point. Like athletes are real people. Like, and I think especially at the highest level, when you start seeing people making like upwards of $50 million, like people are even like, why you're rich, like you're wealthy, like you have everything that you could ever want. Like, why are you struggling? And again, I don't think people realize the pressure that like we put on ourselves to go out there and perform, the stress, the high competitive nature of like being in this profession, the whole like, especially in the G, like you could get cut and just be done, right? Like overseas too, like you can get sent home anytime. There's so many. I think everybody on this panel like has an idea of what they want to do next year, but like nothing is set in stone. Like nothing is certain. The uncertainty of the sport like puts like such a stress on you. So I mean, there's just so many things that you just don't think about that athletes are going through mentally.
For sure. Because, like, a lot of people have jobs that they are secure with. Sometimes you sign a contract, year, 2 years, maybe an option, maybe not. And like you're like, where am I gonna be? Who am I gonna be with? You know, it's a lot to think about behind the scenes that I don't think a lot of people realize. So thank you for breaking that down a little bit for us. Maya, what do you wish you could tell your younger self about mental health?
I don't know, just that mental health, you can have all the resources in the world. We can talk about it as many times as we need to talk about it, but everything you do is a choice. So, and everything in life is hard. So it's hard to take care of yourself, and it's hard to not take care of yourself and be upset all the time. So you have to take action like in your own life. Whatever you want,
Uh-huh.
you have to choose to make it that way every day.
Yeah,
Your feelings won't always lead you in the right direction. Sometimes you have to choose differently than what you're feeling. I mean, I think a lot of times in life that gets misconstrued, like advice you're given doesn't always align with that. I think as an athlete, you have a different mindset because you don't really ever feel like running sprints. But it's like a training session for real life. Like if you want your life to be great, you have to choose to make it great, even when you feel like not being great.
I love it. I love it. That choice, that we have choices, and choosing the one today might be a different one tomorrow because where you're at and what you're trying to do and how you feel. But we have to have a balanced decision making process that is not just how we feel, but what is before us. And that maybe there is a moment where we can do something different. But I love taking action. That's what this month, Mental Health Awareness Month, is about, turning that awareness, that self awareness, that awareness of your mental health into action, and making a choice is an action. And so I think too, people feel like you can't change your mind. Like, I said I was going to do that. Now, like, they're going to think I'm a flake, or like I can't follow through, or blah, blah, blah. But like, you're human. You're not a robot. You can't just put a program in and then be like, this is how it's going to be. But like, you have to do that reality check for you, that check in, like, where am I? What am I going to decide today or this moment? So that's important. I really love it. Anaya, who is your mental health role model on or off the court? Maybe there's more than one, but what comes to mind when you think about that?
Mine would be Derek Grant. He actually has his own like little channel to DG Mindset. And he does stuff for athletes also. But when I was, earlier in my career and I was struggling where I was at, he would pick up the phone and be on the phone with me at 6 a.m. weekly, just talking to me about my mind and trying to help me, get through it. And he was an athlete. He was a Harlem Globetrotter for a while, and he saw himself going to the NBA, but it never happened. But now he talks to athletes as well. So I'd have to give him his flowers because he really helped me and poured a lot of wisdom into me and really helped me, grow as a person and an athlete, and was able to give me tools so that I can share with others. So yeah, definitely flowers to him because he really helped me.
That's awesome. Shout out DG from Anaya and all of us. That's awesome. I love it. I hear one thing that you do that instantly calms you down if you're feeling stressed on the court, in the locker room, in life. One thing that you do that you have found is really effective, like in the moment.
I would just say letting go and embracing the uncertainty. And I think as the athletes and even people, we just always kind of know what's going to happen next and how, and just be in control of things. And a lot of times there's so many things that don't go your way and you can't control, but the best thing you can do is just trust in your work and what you've done to get to that point in that moment and be okay with the result. And I think that's something that I struggled with early in my career. And I think now I've gotten a pretty good grasp on that and being okay with the failures and just embracing all that and knowing that it's part of the journey. And I think that's important to especially when you're in these type of moments that you need to be calmed down, and we all get anxious. It happens. And I just think, embracing that uncertainty and just truly letting go and being okay with whatever results, because there's a reason why you're here in that moment. So just try to trust in yourself and do the best you can in that moment. So yeah.
Love it. Reminding yourself to let go, to trust, to be grateful for the opportunity. Oh, that's really great. When you say that too, the brain calms down too. And so then your mind and your body follow. So that's really, really important. Making that choice again to choose gratitude, to choose calmness over the anxiety. So all that's great. You guys know each other. You guys are family. Lucas brought y'all together. I'm going to give you all the mic here at the end. One thing that maybe I didn't ask or that you're inspired by each other here that you want to say, just a few minutes each. Anything about what it means for you to be on this panel today, what anyone here means to you, anything that you'd want to impart on any of the listeners, just last words. Anyone can start.
I'll go. Why not?
Yes, please.
I'll go. I'm not. I thought Aher was going to take it because his mic was off, but it's okay.
Yeah, me too. I thought
Oh, no. You got it. This is your.
that.
I just think in my personal journey, especially right now, I've been a professional athlete for 3 years. I've had 2 season-ending injuries, and I don't know what lesson I'm supposed to learn from that. But I think all I know is that mentally, going through injuries and going through just being a professional athlete is just so stressful. Aher kind of just touched on embracing the uncertainty. And as a person that loves being in control and wanting to control outcomes, that's kind of our job is to try to control the outcome of stuff of a game. And even as people, we like being in control of stuff. So I think learning that tough lesson of, like he said earlier, let go and let God. And it's such an easy phrase and you can just easily say it, but it's so much harder to do in practice. So mental health is something that I'm being forced to learn. It's not even something that I want to learn. It's something that I'm being forced to learn. And because if not, you'll probably just give up or quit, or I'll retire, or just try to do something else and something safer. And then I'll always have that, what if I did something else later, have regrets later in life. So just learning these tough lessons now so that I can be a better human being to the people that I love around me. So that's what I will say. And I'll pass it off to whoever wants to go next.
Thanks for that, Lucas. Yup. Whoever wants to go next.
I'll go. So I'll say thanks to Lucas for, inviting me to do this podcast and this panel. For me, I would say that mental health is everywhere around us. Whether you are dealing with something, you think you're perfectly fine, you got it figured out, at some point in life, something's going to hit you, and having the skills and the coping mechanisms to deal with it is so important. And also just having empathy for people who are dealing with it, I think is huge because, like I said, you might not be dealing with something, but 9 out of 10 times someone around you is. And just being aware that not everyone has it all figured out and that people are fighting silent battles that they might not speak about, and just having that awareness and love to share on them. So it's mine.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Love it. Love it.
I can go next.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
you're unmuting, so you better say a thing.
I thought you were going to say something first.
Yeah,
Okay, but yeah.
Okay. You go.
Yeah, this is Aher. And I would say, like, to touch on what Anaya was saying, is like, with the mental health aspect, everyone's kind of going through something. Even like that person or that your role model, or even like the most successful people, they're all going through something. So I think it's okay to kind of speak on it, and it's even better to do this in whatever way you want to do it. But just really acknowledging it is just think the best thing you can do. Because once you acknowledge it, I think you kind of break the barrier from there, and you kind of follow along with however you want to improve your mental health and be aware of it, and maybe even in a way impact others with this. And I know it's something Lucas is doing now with social media stuff, and I think it's been great, all been great, because I think like it opened my eyes as well in terms of like with athletes every year, like athletes are going through something, especially with injuries, for example, and they don't talk. Nobody really talks about these things that you can be on top, and then all of a sudden an injury happens, and it's back to ground zero. And like it's just years you put in, and I think it's important to speak on these things for sure. And I think everyone can learn from someone else, even if we're speaking on different topics. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Totally. I love it. I think before we get to Maya, I know that when I speak about mental health, it resonates when I can equivocate it with physical health. Like it's the same kind of thing. We could have physical challenges in our health with injury. We can have mental health challenges in our own mindset mentality, but we all have a baseline of what health is. And that's different on a continuum for anyone, right? And so what is health for me might be different for the next person, but knowing what yours is, and like the theme of this, again, making choice, taking action, because we all have mental health. How we are in it or where we stand in it is different and can change day to day, month to month. So I think that's really important. So thank you for that. Maya, for you, anything that you want to share or say that you didn't get a chance to?
Yeah, sure. First, thanks for having me on here, guys. It means a lot. But I would just say, like, whatever you're going through, like, whatever kind of hard you're going through or mental health struggle you're going through, like, if you keep taking the next step, keep fighting through, keep choosing to do better, like, you're going to come out like a stronger person at the end of the day. And then everything you face, you'll just be a stronger person and a stronger person. So you never want to just back down to what you're going through. Always take a baby step forward. And when you see the other side, I think you'll know why, you'll develop as a person. So.
Thank you so much. Oh my God. So many gems, so many words of wisdom. I just thank you all for taking the time. You're coming in from all different time zones, countries. I just appreciate it. And special shout out to Lucas for organizing this and helping us come together, because I know we're all going to touch at least one person. And that's what this is about. So happy Mental Health Awareness Month to y'all. And thanks again for being here.
Thank you for having us.
This podcast exists because of the team at CAS-CM. CAS-CM is a B2B content production company helping organizations create and share their stories. We aim to create space where businesses can build assets and drive revenue through writing and talking. Content creation should be enjoyable and accessible. At CAS-CM, we love helping make that happen. Learn more at cascm.com.